Hey everybody, this is AVP or Alicia, and tonight I'm joined by my husband, my darling Jack. And we're
Hello.
gonna be doing another novella read tonight. We always record this one really short, honestly, because
Yeah.
I literally just got in the door from work less than 20 minutes ago. No joke.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
yeah, we are going to be doing chapter 13 in the novella tonight. Sympathy for the Devil.
Hey, Chloe.
Hey Chloe, good to see you, girl. So we will be doing that. Just so you guys know, next month, which is literally tomorrow, we will be doing our final stream of this novella, and then we will go into the comics starting in January, probably that Todd created. But the thing is that this channel is going to the AVP portion of it will be rebranded, being known as the Dream Team, basically, because we'll be reflecting on the two of us at that point. The AVP Orville channel will still stay the same at that point, but just so you guys know, if you see a different name between now and January, it's still the same channel. It's just been rebranded to reflect the two of us, basically. Um, let's see. And we will be addressing an interview that was taking place by one of our beloved cast members that happened recently that some of you may have or may have not seen, but we will be addressing that later on at the end of the stream. We also were reunited with our beloved Orville badge. Finally, it's back here. It's in our home. Yes, it is here. It is finally back in its proper
It
place.
was upside down there for a second.
But
And
yes,
hold
it
on.
does light up. We put batteries in it and it lights up. Yay! We still believe it's Jay Lee's, but we're gonna have to check to be sure. But I'm pretty sure that's Jay Lee. I think I'm almost positive it is.
Here's the backing
Mm-hmm. So
now,
it's a kind of batteries. Yes, it
and
uses two
it,
batteries.
and it comes with this metal backing that I'm assuming you put behind a shirt, and
Yes,
that's what keeps the badge on your
yes, on your lapel or however you would wear it. Yes.
yes. So thanks once again. Thanks to Tom Constantine, for that.
No, I do not deserve all those dislikes. You are so right, Chloe. Yes, thank you, Tom Constantine over. And a big thank you to my friend Jonathan for helping it happen to get us back, basically. Because at first we almost thought it was lost for good, but
Yes, we almost lost it. They almost left it at the place she used to live, and yeah, but luckily we were able to get someone to pick it up and send it to us. So it's
yes,
back here with us, and we have a little box for it, a little shadow box for it that we'll be hanging it up in, and can't wait to do that.
yes. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Ours was pretty good. So we went up to Coachella, which is, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a little further north from here, but it's pretty nice
Mhm.
up there. It was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I mean, it was a nice drive there. It was a nice time at the Tilly's son's house,
Yes.
and then the electric light show afterwards. We picked up some more dolls.
So this is California, Callie, our little girl. Her shirt says Berry Mary. And this is EC Diego. And his says fa la 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 roar. And he does go roar. EC stands for El Cajon, where we live, basically.
Hmm.
So yep. Chips has got little brothers and sister. And I also have a little cup that my father-in-law teases me and says, "Oh, you got a little baby cup." I think I still have it in my work bag. If I can pull it out. If not, well, yeah. Yeah, I have to find it later. But yeah, it's really, really cute. So yeah, I mean, Christmas is coming up, guys, and don't lose hope, guys. Please. I know it's hard waiting on Orville, but please don't lose hope. It should be back, hopefully. Honestly, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be.
Tom
Oh,
says that we should have faith of the heart.
and here's the cup. I just found my little cup. So it's a little tiny cup. But yeah. But yeah, we are going into so this chapter is pretty in depth to find out what happens to our beloved Adam. We're going to be altering a little bit of the language in it because it mentions a very controversial historical figure.
Yes.
So to avoid that controversy, we changed his name. All right. I think we have dilly-dallied with a little intros. So are you ready, my
I'm ready.
friend? Okay. Okay. Chapter 13. Adam lay flat on his back, staring up at the featureless ceiling of his cell.
What happened?
I am so sorry. That was my bad. That was bad. That was my bad, folks. My bad. Sorry.
Technical difficulties. Do, do, do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do. Intermission. Y'all need
All right.
Jesus.
All right. There we go. And did I add it back? No, I did not. Hold on.
Now, if I put peanut butter in this cup, it would be a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Right. Alrighty. Now we got it back. Okay, ready now?
I'm ready.
Okay, sorry about that, folks, but here we go. Chapter 13. Adam lay flat on his back, staring up at the featureless ceiling of his cell. For that's how he viewed it. Not only the room, but also his new universe, a prison from which he could not escape, no matter how far he might travel. He was weary but unable to sleep. He had asked for one of the security officers to help obtain some German literature in the ship's historical archive. He had managed to locate Mein Kampf in the original Dutch, but his brain could not focus, and he soon found himself reading the same passage over and over without making any sense of the words he was seeing. What little rest he had managed was haunted by dreams in which he felt trapped, suffocated by thick, malevolent air from which his lungs could extract no oxygen. At last he rose again, and for what seemed like the hundredth time shuffled and drifted around the room aimlessly, mind numb, soul empty, silently moving about the stultified environs as if he were his own ghost. Enough! He walked to the bedroom door. Obediently it opened. There was no one in the outer room. Cautiously, Adam moved to the main door and took a deep breath. He began pounding furiously.
Help me! Help! I've been hurt! Please, help!
He then darted to the side, flattening his back against the wall against the entryway. Presently, the door slid open, and the well-uniformed security guard stepped inside. The guard barely had time to react before an elbow slapped him into his jaw, and with a sickening crack, the guard went down. For all the veritable centuries that divided them, fortunately for Adam, a man was still just a man. His military training served him well as he finished the job, pummeling the guard into unconsciousness, taking satisfaction in the act after having been treated as a fragile antique for so many days. He plucked the side arm from which the prostrate figure and examined it closely. The intricacies of his operational mechanism were alien to him, but the shape was familiar enough. When he held it in his hand, he found in fact not dissimilar to the military-esque Luger he had once carried. Adam stealthily crept out into the corridor, his watchful eyes alert for enemies, his body poised for combat or flight. He was alone. Finger on the trigger of the weapon, he hastened toward the T-junction ahead. Peering around the corner, he spotted a young woman in orange, eyes fixed on a small glowing object of some kind, which she appeared to be reading. Occasionally she would tap it a few times, and it would emit a small burst of sound. Adam retreated behind the corner and lay in wait. After a moment, she reappeared in view, and with lightning quick agility, he leapt out and grabbed her, clapping a hand over her mouth and pressing the barrel of the weapon to her temple.
The simulator.
He hissed, saying the strange word aloud for the first time.
Where is it?
He carefully pulled his hand away, allowed to respond.
Where is it?
He pressed the weapon harder against her head. That way, she stammered, awkwardly pointing back the way she had come.
Show me. And if you cry out to anyone, I promise you will die.
He roughly pivoted her body 180 degrees and then gave her a hard shove, stuffing the weapon into the waistband of his trousers. Still shaking, the woman advanced down the corridor as Adam followed. They passed a few other crew members, most of whom were too occupied to clock any suspicious dynamic of the dynamic pair. One young man in green gave them a second glance, and Adam's nerves tightened for a moment as he readied himself to extract the weapon. The man, however, evidently decided there was nothing odd about the uniformed officer and her civilian companion strolling down the corridor and moved along without interfering. Adam silently marveled with disgust and disdain at the apathetic protocols that allowed military officers to walk about unarmed. He probably could have accomplished this without the weapon. They approached the large double doors marked Environmental Simulator 3.
Open it.
Adam commanded. The woman worked the small pad on the wall to the right of the doors, and they slid apart, revealing the stark silvery interior. Adam smashed a fist into the woman's face, knocking her out cold. He stepped over her slumped form and entered the chamber. What now? He moved to the small interior panel and stared at it anxiously. What was it that the doctor had said to summon his world before? He couldn't remember. With frustration, he slapped a palm against the panel. Please state requests, uttered the antiseptic, expressionless voice. He spoke aloud into the empty air, his own voice echoing inside the vast cube.
I want to go home.
Please specify parameters. He did not know what this meant, and the longer he delayed, the greater the dangers his captors would find him and stop him before he could return home.
Home!
He cried frantically.
I want to go home. I'm Adelvago, and I want to be with my wife and child.
Please specify time frame. He blinked in confusion and then began to crystallize. Was it conceivable?
Time. Time.
He sifted the possibilities in his mind.
10 years after the war, with Germany victorious, we have a beautiful home in the Bavarian countryside. We are happy there, and Elise, Alger, and me. That is where I want to go.
The air shimmered around him. His equilibrium was momentarily disrupted, and then he was home. It wasn't the home he had known in Poland, but rather a new place, unfamiliar and yet inviting nonetheless. Sleek, streamlined looking furniture filled a spacious, airy living room, with a chandelier above the illuminated the dwelling via glass balls that looked like a cross between a snowflake and a star. A wooden box with an inset screen stood in the corner, two thin wires protruding from its top. On the screen, a well groomed man was reading the news items of the day. Television. He had heard about it being used in the 1936 to broadcast from the Olympic Games in Berlin, where Voldemort himself had given the commencement speech. But the technology had clearly advanced by the time, which must be the mid 1950s. But far more glorious than any of these novelties was that his wife, Annalise, sat comfortably on the olive green sofa, her petite legs crossed beneath the hem of a charming pink house dress, a warm, loving smile on her face as she rose to embrace him. And in that moment, he knew for certain that this is where he wanted to stay. This beautiful fantasy. It didn't matter, it was not real. He would rather live within the protective womb of his dearest of illusions than out there in the unforgiving real world. Welcome home, darling, she said silkily as she wrapped her pale white arms around his neck and kissed him long and hard. She was eager and alive and flushed with color from a day in the summer sun. As he pulled away to admire the bottomless blue eyes which he had been deprived of for so long, he caught a burst of movement in his peripheral vision, turning to the front door, beyond which a lush green lawn with a majestic oak tree was visible. He saw a handsome young man of about 16 enter from the outside. The face was familiar.
Alger! Hello, Papa.
The boy grinned. Adam spun to grab the lad by the shoulders.
Stand there. Face me.
What a fine Oh, this is Bestilian.
Oh, are you sure? Because it's just stand
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry. Sorry. What a fine specimen and unsullied Arayan Norvedic breeding. This was the future for which Hogwarts had fault.
Look at you. You're practically a man.
He pulled wife and son into an ecstatic embrace as he gazed once more at his surroundings.
And this is our home. We are home.
Annalise laughed. Of course we are, darling. Where else could we be? As he reveled in the luxuriant idyll of the world he had restored and ushered into its most decisively supreme potential, he became aware of the voice coming from the television set.
Hold on, I lost my. Oh yeah, here we go. The Führer announced today that the General Gerhard Abedath will succeed Minister von Ribbentrop, goddamn, as first Reichsmaster of the United States.
The screen showed an image of the White House, looking as it always had in films and photographs Adam had seen, with one significant alteration. The
Yeah, those things.
fluttering nobly in the breeze above its columns.
Minister von Ribbentrop will oversee the conclusion of normalization procedures in South America, where the few remaining resistance cells have been crushed. As his final act as Governor General of the United States, Ribbentrop will oversee the official installation ceremony of the newly completed Monument des Führer, which stands proudly in New York Frankfurt Hafen, formerly New York Harbor.
The picture shifted to reveal a breathtaking image of a colossal tower and iron statue of Voldemort, right arm raised in salute, looming tall where America's Statue of Liberty had once stood. Everything was exactly as he knew it would be. This was the grand future that they had been promised by the Führer, come to pass before his very eyes. Did it really matter if it was a simulation? Perhaps the truth could be very different for everyone. This was his truth. He felt as if an oppressive weight had been lifted from his shoulders. As he placed his hands on Annalise's warm cheeks and bent his head to kiss her again, Alger suddenly turned away, startled. A hole opened up in the far wall. Beyond it, the quarters of the Orville were visible. They were here. He reached for the weapon, still tucked into his waist. Tala fired. Her aim was true as ever, and the blast hit Adam square in the chest. He fell to the floor, stunned and unconscious.
Papa!
Cried Alger, rushing to his father's side. Annalise looked at the unit officers in terror. Who are you? What have you done to him?
End simulation.
Said Ed, and mother and son dissolved into the nothingness. Tyler approached Adam, easily picked him up, and carried him out the door. As Ed watched the limp figures move by, he was struck anew by the tragedy of the man's life. An abandoned child thrust by chance into the care of a mindless machine, which had unwittingly led him down a long and perverse winding path of indoctrination toward this day when all that remained was a mass of hatred and shattered hopes. Ooh.
And that's
Mm,
that's the chapter.
yes. Oof.
So he decided, okay, I'm gonna try to take matters into my own hands,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna get back to my family, no matter
Yeah.
what. And that's what he did, at least for a little while.
Yeah. That's unfortunate that he did that too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand somewhat why, but it's still unfortunate that he did do it by forcible actions.
Well, I mean, the other thing is that I mean, he was so attached to his family, and to learn that they didn't exist.
Right.
That I mean, that has to be hard for anyone.
Very, very true.
And so, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would have been more therapeutic for him to have spent some time in the simulator, decoupling himself from that reality.
Correct.
Yeah, while still trying to figure out the reality that he's actually in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Like they did bring him back to see into the simulator that one time to show that it was a simulation. But then
Yes.
but then after that I felt like there was no resolution for him when it came to
Right. Because it was just the movie thing that he was watching with Gordon and all of them.
yeah, they try to watch the movie. I mean, he figured out that he's on a spaceship, that this is the future, and in this
Mm-hmm.
future his side lost.
Right.
And but it's been so long since then,
Mm-hmm.
that, it's a whole different experience for him. It's a whole nother world.
Right.
He felt it was a prison because, suddenly he wasn't in control of the situation anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I see why they call it sympathy for the devil. I really
Yes,
do.
definitely. I mean, you feel sorry for poor Otto, or in this case, Adam, because he's knows this life and that's all he knows.
Right. And now he has to contend with not only the fact that that life is over, but it was all for nothing.
Yeah, because that life doesn't actually exist. It's just fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, that's got to be a mental mind screw for anyone, you know?
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah. I feel sorry for him. I can understand why they said sympathy for the devil, because I'm like, but then you start learning, okay, this is why. Because yeah, he's just troubled. He wants to go back to this world, but he doesn't realize that that world is just fantasy.
And then when he finally goes back and he understands it's a fantasy now, he's very content and just like, I don't care. I just want to live in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Never mind that it's fake.
Yeah, he didn't at that point. He didn't care. He just wanted to be. He still was attached to his family, and I think that's what he wanted most was his family.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I mean, his side could have lost, but he would have still had his family.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have been. Yeah, he'd have been okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he wants is his family. He wants his Annalise. He wants his Alger. Never mind the other parts about his mother or his father or his friend, but that's the main things he wants is his wife and child back, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and that's got to be a hard. That's got to be a really hard thing to come to terms with. So
Yes. But yeah, like I said, next month, which is literally tomorrow, we will be wrapping up this novella basically that we started literally a year ago, practically.
hmm yep, yep.
So,
Yeah, that's true because December will be the chapter 14. That'll be the final chapter. We started this October of last year.
yes. But yeah, we'll be finishing that up. I think we'll probably do the chapter 14 and the epilogue. And there's also a thank you page that Seth MacFarlane created as well.
Yeah, but we can like do those. We can do those in a
Sure.
yeah. I feel like the last uh I feel like the last chapter and the epilogue could probably be put together.
That totally works. Yeah, we could totally do that. Like I said, that will be technically next month, like I said. But we'll probably do it. I don't know if we'll do it before Christmas or if we'll do it after Christmas. We'll see how things go, basically.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, the comics will be after that, which will start in January. But then that will be that point when you see the channel rebranded at that point, basically.
That's right.
So the thing that we were going to address, so Adrian Pilecki, our beloved Kelly Grayson, had an interview with Michael Rosenbaum. So Michael Rosenbaum is known from his Smallville, and he's also known from other many, many projects. And he also has this podcast that he has created called Inside of You. And he interviews various celebrities and whatnot. And one of them he recently interviewed with Adrienne. And he discussed many, many things with her. And so he asked her about the beloved Orville series, of course, because as we know, she's part of it. But he addresses it very subtly. Now, as you all know, that I'm one of the Orville ambassadors, I consider that. I will say this that her tone and her body language and her nonverbals, they were very disturbing. I could not retweet that interview in good faith because it just, that was not the Kelly I knew. It just made me very uncomfortable to watch that. It literally made me weep. I literally was sobbing after I saw that.
It wasn't exactly what she had said. It was more of the attitude she had when she said like the
Yes.
it felt like in her mind in her mind, she was done. Like she's moved on from the Orville, and
Right.
I think that's what like felt bad. Like, I think that's what made people feel bad. Um, now
Yes.
now she doesn't badmouth anybody in this interview. She's not,
No.
and in fact, like, you know, I see, I kind of understand her, what she has to say about it, because she talks about the um the long wait in between seasons 2 and 3, and
Mhm.
then the long wait to see if it's going to be renewed for a fourth season.
Mhm.
And I mean, she can't, I mean, like, she can't just live off the Orville, because they've only done like 36 episodes
Mhm.
in a 6-year span. She's got to
Right.
do other things. She has to eat. She has to work. She has, um, she did. I don't know if it was appropriate for her to do so, but she did mention that at some point Jay Lee was eating crackers and Gatorade or something like that.
Something like that, and it's just like I don't know why you would discuss your personal details from your coworkers. I really don't think that
I
was appropriate.
Well, I don't think she meant it as an insult or anything.
Sure, no, of course not.
It was more of like she was trying to get the message out that was like, hey, like, we weren't getting paid a lot of money to do this, because we only did a certain amount of episodes.
Sure. I mean, I understand she was trying to like gain sympathy, but the way her approach mm, didn't
Yeah.
have to be done that way. I mean, I even asked Chloe, who's here in the chat,
Yes.
and she's basically now, in case you guys didn't know, Chloe or Miss Watchtower, it has a psychology degree. And I asked her insight on that because she had not seen it. And she gave me her insight. So if you guys don't mind me reading that, she sent me her note. She says, okay, usually I only psychoanalyze the characters of the show, but I make an exception. When I first read posts about this interview, I thought it might be depression, but what I'm hearing, she might be discouraged because of the fact that they haven't made many episodes per year. COVID and the strikes did not help either, I'm sure. Did she lose hope? Unsure, but she might just be venting. But she has to remember she has a platform and people look to her for answers. The way she answered Michael thought it was canceled. By the way, there are no word yet, so take Adrienne's words with a grain of salt. And as Tom Constantino said, have faith. So that's the main thing here.
Mhm. Yeah. So I mean, like, we're far from actually like debunking rumors at this point. I mean, this is more just like someone venting their frustration about about like the fact that, hey, it takes forever for these seasons to be renewed, because Seth has to write everything, and the studios have to approve everything. And so I mean, I think her comment on the retainer fees, like they
Mm-hmm.
like the studios should be giving them retainer
Mm-hmm.
fee, in order in order, A, to help them while they're waiting on these long periods, and then B, also because people got to eat.
Right. And
I think
that's fair.
I think that's a good point. I think it was a fair point, and I agree with her on that aspect.
Sure, it's just her venting the way she was. If it was a vent in that case, her tone and her body language just, to me, gave me the indication she's just basically emotionally and physically spent. And that could have been addressed a little bit better, I think.
Perhaps, but
But
I
yeah,
mean, at the same time, like, I appreciate her honesty in it.
sure, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Even if, I mean, like, like, some. I mean, I have this attitude where it's like, hey, I'd rather be hurt with the truth than, like, you know soothed with a lie or whatever. And
Right. I'm that same way myself, actually. I mean, I don't want the lies. I don't, even though this truth is hurting to hear her talk the way she was talking, I don't want to be soothed with a lie saying, "Oh, everything's a-okay, everything's peachy keen." No,
right.
I think that's the thing that's hurtful because her tone basically just made it seem like I don't care, basically.
Maybe that wasn't the way she meant to do that, but maybe, as I said, maybe as Chloe said, maybe she's frustrated, and she was just kind of venting a little. I mean, like, you can tell, like, if you watch the full interview, like, her and Rosenbaum, like they seem to get along very well. She was very open with Rosenbaum. Like she was even talking about when she lost her virginity at one point.
Wow.
Yeah. And she also talked about like Scott. They still get along very well. They still text each other. Yeah, they did try to get married and see how that worked. It didn't work out, but
Right.
they acted like adults, and they're still friends, and it's all good.
Hmm. I
So
mean, I'm glad they were able to resolve that peacefully because some divorces, unfortunately, do not end peaceable.
sure, sure,
But yeah, I wanted to address that to you guys tonight. I mean, like I said, I that's the reason why if you didn't see me retweet anything, I just in good faith could not retweet that because that's not the kind of image I want to project to let you know, hey, as much as I love our beloved Adrienne, I cannot support her in this kind of way she was approaching it, basically.
right. I mean, I did tweet it out myself, but it was just more like, oh, geez, this doesn't bode well. If
Right. I mean, hopefully, because of Peacock picking up the TED series, now they can start branching out to hopefully renew an Orville now, hopefully for Disney to say, hey, okay, we see that it's got the numbers, it's got the views, let's go for it.
right, just two more episodes. That's our two more seasons. That's all I asked for. Is just two more seasons.
At least so we can find out what happens to Anaya. At
But
least to find out.
one, yeah, that is actually one of the things I was talking to you about earlier too. It was like, I mean, if I really hope they renew the Orville because I want to know. I mean, like, I want to know what happens with Anaya. Like, does Ed ever get Anaya back, or are they ever going to reunite? It's
Right.
it's 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 a almost like for me that's more of a personal thing because I have a similar thing going on in my own life, and so
Right.
I was really invested in that storyline.
Of course. I mean, I'd love to see that kind of ending and at least to know what happens to Havina, especially with her point of contact, too, to say,
Yeah, I mean, Havina is not a bad person. She has noble things, but she made a really bad mistake.
yes.
Yeah, and I do hope that she finds a way to make up for that mistake. I would hate for the last time I see Havina would be that episode. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, hopefully we get some more. Hopefully we get some news on it. Honestly, because I'm gonna stay hopeful, guys. I know it's hard. I know it really is. Trust me. It's just don't lose hope, guys. Just don't.
So I mean, without them actually saying so, we know that there are talks about renewing it. Now, how those talks are going, the context of that, we don't know. We just know that there are talks, which
Right.
means that they don't know. They don't know if they don't know if there's going to be another season or not, and it's all going to depend on like I think it's just going to have to depend on the stars aligning in some way, because we had we had the whole COVID thing, we had the whole strike thing. In between that, they could have renewed the Orville, but they didn't even think about it at the time. I don't know. Now I feel like because Disney is trying to shift focus onto more story oriented things and whatnot, I'm hoping they take another. I mean, I'm hoping they look at the streaming numbers for the Orville
Mm-hmm.
and they see that it is worth as expensive as it must be, and as long as it takes to do, it's worth at least two more seasons.
At least, yes. But yeah. Um. But yeah, hopefully we can get back into also so you guys know we have not forgotten our gaming streams. It's just been so crazy with me working. I mean, I'm literally working almost every day, but because my client's getting ready to go out for Christmas and will be out for quite a while, hopefully we can get back into that soon.
Yeah, we could do it. I mean, I'm sure we can do like a little Jackbox thing on sometime like in December, possibly in between like Christmas and New Year's or something.
Yes, exactly. Before we go away, because we will be going away for Christmas.
True.
So we will see
But
what
I'll be
happens.
but we'll have to be right back the day afterwards because I gotta work.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We literally have to be almost practically on the red eye.
Yeah.
But it'll work out, honestly.
It will.
But yeah, we hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. If you're in the cold and flu season, I know a lot of us are. We're starting to recover from our own, so we're doing a lot better now.
Yeah, you should have seen me 2 weeks ago.
We were both pretty miserable. We were just miserable. We were just some miserable little pups.
Hmm.
We were just like, I don't feel good. Give me the blanket. Go away. Leave me alone. But no, we're doing a lot better now. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad we got our Orville badge back. And like I said, next month we will be doing that last chapter. And then after that, we will move into the comics. And then maybe we'll go back into watch parties again because we haven't done a watch party for season 3. Like I said, hopefully somewhere in between all of that, we get word.
Yes. Hey, I mean, like, think of it like this. Uh, 20 years after it got canceled, they did 3 more seasons of Animaniacs.
True. They did bring it back for not 1, not 2, but 3 seasons. They brought it back
for
on
for,
Hulu.
for Hulu. Oh, and same with Futurama.
Yes, they brought that one back as well.
So there is hope.
Yes. So don't give up, guys. It could
Even if
happen.
it could be 5 years from now, but there's still hope.
Yes, exactly. So don't lose that hope, guys. I mean, I know it's hard. I know it is. Trust me. I mean, my husband and I had to wait. We had to wait a while before we actually got together with getting married, me moving out here to California.
Oh yeah, that was all. That was all strategy. That was a whole strategic thing behind that.
And then me soon after moving out here. Now I had to look for work, and now I am working. So just be patient, guys. Patience is worth it. Exactly. Don't lose. That's very true, Chloe. I love that one that you're saying.
Hmm.
Yes. Don't give up hope. Renew the Orville. Exactly.
Yeah, and have faith of the heart.
Yes. That is a good song, even though most people don't like that series, but it's a very good.
Oh, but I'm just using it as a saying now. It's just
But
like
it's a very good message with it. Honestly, I mean, I know you're being serious when you say that. Honestly.
I'm like half serious. I mean, I'm serious, but it's like I'm trying to do it in a funny way,
Sure. No, I get you.
in some sort of like way where I reference sci-fi.
Mm-hmm. And that's totally fine. I can't think of anything else. Anything else you would add in, my dear, before we wrap up shop?
Other than just renew the Orville, not really. I mean, if you want to talk a little bit about what we're planning on doing with the history of Hollywood, or not history of Hollywood, but history of film.
So we will be going back to. We'll be starting with the Edison areas. We'll be starting with the doing some film reactions to the early stuff like that. That's copyright free, basically. Studying about the Magic Lanterns, the Warner Brothers. There is no Warner sister.
So I'll show you a couple of books that we purchased in preparation for what we're doing here.
Hmm.
This one, this was Hollywood by Carla Valderrama. I'm sorry, I can't butcher that one. This is actually a pretty good reference book. I was able to get a lot of information on Carl Laemmle and his experience of Hollywood during the Edison Trust period,
Hmm.
uh, which should be interesting to talk about.
Hmm.
I also have this Warner Brothers 100 Years of Storytelling. Now everyone's been making a big deal about Disney's 100-year anniversary, but also Warner Brothers are also celebrating their 100th-year anniversary this year, and
Correct.
they came out with this huge book, this huge, like, you can see how thick it is. It's
Yes.
basically a textbook on the history of
Yes.
Warner Brothers, and I've been eating it up.
Yes, you've been reading it. I will be reading that hopefully soon myself. But yeah.
Yes, and we also have the Ink and Paint book that Alicia picked up.
Yes.
It's the history of the Ink and Paint, uh, the women who did the Ink and Paint for the early Disney uh,
Yes.
films and whatnot.
Yeah. So I will show you this one. This one is heavy.
That is a huge, but like if you thought this was big, that's bigger. So we got Disney covered as well.
So this one has got, according to this, 384 pages, but it's still pretty heavy.
Hmm.
So the way I got this book instead of buying this one, I actually, so Disney has these little codes that they used to include with DVDs, and also if you give them like your um ticket stubs, they give you little points for that. And so I saved up enough points, and I got this beauty. Oh no! But yeah, as you guys see, this is a very heavy, heavy, heavy book, and this is, so the back of it is really, really cool. It shows you some of the specific paint colors that they created to make some of their films, including like Snow White and the other ones, because some of them are just custom paint colors, basically.
And here's the thing: the chemistry that you have to learn in order to make every single one of those shades of color. Um, I mean, they actually had to do science in order to do. I mean, like they had mixed chemicals and shit in order to get these colors.
Yes, that
Yeah,
is really trippy when you see that. 'Cause we saw part of it in
the documentary we recently watched.
yes, it was
The,
about a
the
Mickey one.
yeah, it started with a mouse. I think the title is called.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that sounds about
that's
right. Yes.
that's on Disney Plus. And on top of that, we also have a book on Jesse Lasky. It was actually written by Jesse Lasky's son.
Mm-hmm.
That's an audiobook I have on Audible. I have a book on 20th Century Fox after the merger with 20th Century Television and Fox films. I, I
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking for something more on William Fox himself.
Yes.
Um, and then I also have a YouTube. I don't have a YouTube channel. I also have been using the YouTube channel of Carl Lemley's great grandniece, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yes.
And she has been getting into like the history of her great uncle, and the history of Universal and Universal Studios and everything. And she was lucky enough to have family members living in the back in the back lot, and
Mm-hmm.
living within the studio grounds. And her family has a rich history of film because her great uncle Carl Laemmle started Universal Studios,
Yes.
Universal Pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and he was also a huge opponent of Edison's. There was a bunch of lawsuits between these two before Edison finally lost.
Yes.
Yeah,
But that is some previews coming your way.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, we have a lot of resources that we're pulling from, um, not just Wikipedia, like actual like books.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly. Heavy books.
yeah. So we're trying to give you like the best quality of story with the most information as possible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But we hope you guys have a good night. We apologize that this was a little bit later, but we wanted to make sure we at least did the chapter for this month because things have been so crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. But
But
thanks for
yeah.
joining us.
Yes, thank you. And if you're catching the replay, we hope you enjoy. Please at least keep in mind that, like I said, when the channel changes names, it will still be us. But like I said, the channel will be just under a new name at that point.
Yeah, just a few changes. It's not going to be a lot. It's still going to be us. It's still going to be um, us talking about either the Orville or histories.
Or whatever else. I mean, because there'll be a brand new trailer that you guys will see with it at the beginning instead of the one that we currently have.
Yeah, new music and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I created that one myself, and I had a lot of fun making that. So yeah, you guys have a good night, and we will see you hopefully very, very soon.
Yay!
Good
All right.
night, everyone.
Good night.